Yeah, that's a beautiful thing of how we all borrow from each other. You know, within the early Prince days in the Minneapolis sound, you know, we were picking up things from them. And then once we came along and started doing the Janet Jackson sound, they were picking up things from us.
My next guests here on Musicians Reveal are prolific songwriters, producers, entertainers, music industry activists, and they also, I got to tell them, I got into radio in 1982, so you guys saved me from having some great shows with all the hits you were producing back then and still working on great music. As Calloway, the Calloway Brothers, they had a huge hit, I Want to Be Rich. Recently, I think it was December 6th, they had a remix of I Want to Be Rich with a new producer, and it sounds fresh, a video coming out later this month. We are really honored to welcome Reggie Calloway and Vincent Calloway, the Calloway Brothers Calloway. Welcome to Musicians Reveal.
Pleasure to be here, Joe.
Pleasure.
Yeah, so you guys have continued to stay strong in writing and producing and working together. Let's first talk about the release of the new single and, you know, a different spin on a fantastic hit from the 80s.
Yeah, we wanted to do something special. The 35th anniversary is doubly significant. One that is 35 years, and the other is that's the recapture period for copyrights returning back to the original songwriters, and so everyone is taking advantage of that 35-year program that gives us way more control over the publishing side of the music, to be able to help promote it in TV, film, movies, other activities, video games. So all these things become twice as more relevant. So we get to party on both sides. We wanted to make it a fresh version. You know,
right.
we've done a re-record of the original version, and that was definitely for these purposes. But this one is just special for a whole new market, be it the youth, or be it the middle age, or be it the aged that want to get a young feel.
Yeah,
that's what we wanted to bring this time.
I want to be rich. Whoa, I want to be rich.
Yeah, the original I Want to Be Rich, that was your biggest charting hit, right?
As Calloway, yes.
Yeah, as Calloway, yeah. So, and it's nice right off the bat when you and Vincent left Midnight Star, that right out of the box, top of the charts.
Our biggest pop hit, period. So that is very significant. Yes, it was climbed the charts relatively fast and exciting, and
right.
Epic Records and Solar Records did an amazing job in presenting the song to the world.
And it was cool. I'm looking back at the songwriting credits that two members of Midnight Star, you guys co-wrote it, and it was nice that even though the decision was made to leave or whatever things shook out, that you still had that song together, right?
Yeah, the music has to survive, anything. And we actually wrote the genesis of the song while working on the No Parking on the Dance Floor album. So It was like 1982 when we were working, choosing songs for that album. And as we began to take this amazing concept of I Want to Be Rich, we didn't really take it seriously at the time. It was like, we were definitely struggling, hoping that we could get one more album in us to finally get that first groundbreaking hit. And we decided that song didn't fit Freakazoid, Electricity. It wasn't the hardcore funk that we were going for. So we put it on the shelf. And then Vincent rediscovered it's like, we got to finish this song. So then we went and finished it, and then brought in some of the most incredible musicians. I'll let Vincent take over and talk more about that.
Yeah.
That was cool. So the fun part about it was using some of the great musicians. Not just, I guess a lot of them do live in luck, but it's in the music industry in general. From guitar players, Charles Baring on guitar, Chuck Booker.
Oh yeah,
keyboards,
great keyboards.
For some background thingy, David Bonds, Kipper Jones, Donnell Spencer. Percussion was Polino, Jeff Lover, and did some of the earlier programming.
So
All-star band.
Yeah. And you recorded that out in LA?
Yes.
Right, right. Now, how about yourselves as far as instrumentation? We'll revisit that the hit songs and everything like that and what you guys have planned. But going back to those early days, and you know, I believe Wyoming. Did you live in Wyoming too, Vincent, or were you too young?
I wasn't born yet.
Oh, okay. But you guys are close in age. I think only 2 years separate you, right?
Yeah, our father was in the Air Force.
Oh,
so,
okay.
That's the county of Laramie and the whole Wyoming thing. I was only there for like 6 or 8 months myself. My brother Greg was there. Of course, he's 1 year older. So we came from Louisville, Kentucky. The most part of our family, parents, grandparents, cousins, went to Wyoming and then back to Louisville, Kentucky, where Vincent was born.
Yeah, I always make a joke that I grew up. My first 2 years were in Newark, New Jersey, and I grew up on the mean streets of Newark, New Jersey. And then we moved up to Connecticut. So yeah, all the P-Funk. Yeah, right.
Yeah,
so you moved. No, go ahead, Vincent.
And also go see our family, like in the same neighborhood with Muhammad Ali's family. Wow. Matter of fact, they're a block over. So, you know, some great stories about, you know, Ali going out doing his road work and other past, grandparents on actually where our dad grew up, and granddad giving him stuff, teasing him, you know. To
motivating. Of course, he didn't need much motivation.
Yeah. Yeah, he was a legend. And so you moved to Ohio or Kentucky?
We moved back to Kentucky when we were children and grew up there from elementary school, and then the latter part of elementary school we moved to Cincinnati, Ohio. Right. And then did
you know Chris Jasper back then?
We knew of him later. We knew his family, and in fact,
okay.
His nephew was in a group that we produced. But the Ozzy Brothers, Chris was the young kid, but Ronald and the rest of the guys, they were, the 1955 version of the Ozzy Brothers. So, and they had already moved away by that time, but we got to see them close. We got to see the Ohio players on a regular basis, James Brown on a regular basis. So we had quite a bit. And then on the jazz scene, there was a club called the Viking Lounge, which brought all the great jazz players through town. As they were on their slow days, and it was amazing education.
And then of course Bootsy Collins now.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, it's funny with the showing through radio and everything. When we talk about cities and areas, Ohio, Minneapolis, and the Motown sound and everything like that. Ohio, there are people die hard that just say nobody's better than us.
So we call it the land of the funk, and yeah, a lot of, James Brown would come once a year at least and play for the kids around Easter time for 99 cents. So that was quite an experience. And then we even saw the Jackson 5 in Cincinnati. That was a pretty wild concert. We was fear for our lives with the crowds and
yeah, that was actually probably one of our first real big concerts, going to see the Jackson 5.
Right.
Yeah,
I had to wait till later years. I saw them on the tour with Stacey Lattisaw at Madison Square Garden. But yeah, that was a great tour. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So growing up, you guys are young. You were working. I read something. You guys worked. A family had a ice cream store.
Our mother was, always the entrepreneurial type, even though she had many jobs to help raise and take care of us. But one of her goals was always to open up her own flower shop. Okay. So she went to floral design school and, left us at home for a while with the neighbors and got her degree and opened up her own flower shop right up the street from our house, from our family house. And she wanted to keep us motivated, keep us involved. She didn't want us to try to just, be florists like she was. So she built an ice cream parlor in the back. And let us run the ice cream parlor and taught us about business and inventory and all that good stuff that makes it happen. But the beautiful thing was that she picked up the phone one day and called James Brown. She found out he was in town at a hotel. She called the hotel, said, "Can I speak to Mr. Brown?" They connected her to it. Didn't even say anything. Wow. So she talking to James Brown. She says, your sister here in town has open up a business, and we would be honored if you would come by and be our guest of honor for the grand opening. And he says, yes, I'll do it as long as there's no big crowd. If I see a big crowd, I'm gonna keep driving by. So we couldn't tell but a handful of our friends and cousins.
Right.
And what a way to start your career with James Brown at the grand opening of your ice cream parlor and flower shop. It was called Larson's Flower Barn in honor of our mother.
Okay. Yeah. So you both worked there. Did you get paid, or you had to work for free?
We worked for ice cream.
Yeah.
You worked for ice cream, right?
Literally. But no,
my job was actually working with my mom. I did a lot of the prep work.
Okay.
You know, kind of getting the little sticks and putting the little wires around them when you need to, prop flowers up. And that was probably developed a lot of dexterity during that time.
You did a lot of weddings and funerals, big projects.
Yeah, probably a little bit of everything.
A little bit of everything.
Yeah.
Hopefully more weddings.
Yeah. That's where yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah.
So moving along, you guys were, as you mentioned before, really ambitious. You had your mom keeping you straight on the road, and in school. Let's talk about individually your first introduction in music, and that you wanted to go this far to where the levels you are today.
Vince. Oh, well, got a couple of highlight things, but my first local group was in junior high, Crest Hill gang. But I got started, playing trumpet originally. I'm a trumpet in school, and taught me how to buzz a mouthpiece. So I was out later on. I was out doing gigs before I even had any formal training. So in junior high school, my first group called Crest Hill gang. That's mainly to schools, Crest. Reggie and Hope's brother Greg would hold concerts at the high school, over high school, out in the back, and in the field, football field, and they invited my group to come over and play. So that was kind of some of my early performance, and then later, having another local group called TNT Powerhouse. They had a chance to open up for Stevie Wonder and B.B. King. They called it the Jazz Festival Sampler. And that was based off of a competition that would happen in Cincinnati of the Battle of the Bands. So whoever won the Battle of the Bands had a chance to open up, some of these top artists.
Yeah. So right off the bat, you were hanging with the legends. Yeah. What instrument did you play, Vincent? First off,
Trumpet.
Okay.
Trumpet, and then of course taught myself trombone, whatever else I can get my hands on.
Yeah, the big print I have in my living room is Miles Davis, Kind of Blue, with the trumpet. So nice frame pictures. Yeah. So how about you, Reggie? Getting into music.
I go all the way back to to Louisville, Kentucky, with my grandparents. Both had a piano in their house, so I got a chance to tinker on it and learn what the Black Keys did, what they sound like, what the White Keys sound like, and try to create my own songs. So I didn't really learn a lot of other people's songs. However, during that time, there was the Duke of Earl, where you're 4 or 5 years old, 6 years old, standing under the spotlights trying to sing bass. Do you love me now that I can dance?
Yeah, right.
Gave me the courage to talk to girls, while trying to learn how to dance. I wasn't a very good dancer, but it gave me an excuse to be there.
Right. Yeah, you found your way.
Yeah. So, we took a short period of wanting to take piano lessons, but it wasn't in our budget, and the school only had one piano in the room with 20 kids, so that was not an opportunity to do that. But when we moved to Cincinnati, I always wanted a guitar. That wasn't working out either. But time to go to junior high school, my mother said, I'll get you a trumpet if you are in the band. That way I think you won't stop. You'll keep playing it.
Right.
And so trumpet was my favorite first instrument. Our father was a trumpet player, so we had to experience sitting around at grandfather's house with the fireplace going and marshmallows on the fire, and our father would sit us on his lap and play the horn, and
right.
just the smell of the case and the oil just locks you in.
Wow, you can remember that. Yeah,
you remember the smell, everything. And then moving to Cincinnati, then beginning to play trumpet myself, there was a couple of things that brought that about. One was the elementary school talent show, which that time I was singing, and the reaction of the crowd was enough to say, okay, this may be the business for me.
Right.
But I didn't make the All City Boys Choir because we had this incredible pianist in our midst that was a child prodigy named Fred Hirsch, the great jazz pianist.
Oh yeah, I played some of his stuff. Yeah. Yeah.
So Fred got picked for the All City Boys Choir, even though he didn't sing, but he could play any music they put in front of him, and in the 5th and 6th grade. So that led me to switch over to trumpet. And another landmark was, being in my high school bands, which was just a lot of fun. Motown Masters, the MD Fire Department, second band. We traveled from Cincinnati all the way to Las Vegas during my senior year. Left school early to make that trip. My mother said, "Yeah, go ahead, you can do it," because I was already pretty much graduated.
Right.
As well as what hurt me was being president of the senior class and not being able to be there for homecoming. That was
wow.
that was devastating. I did fly in for my graduation though.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But then I knew then it was time to go to college. So that's
Right.
when I went to Kentucky State to really study trumpet, to study music, and fortunately to meet the members of Midnight Star and form one of the special groups of all time.
I'll be a freakazoid. Come on and wind me up.
We were still a solid, probably a solid 8, I guess,
Okay.
at that time. We only had one. Well, we had two transition members from the beginning to the end, and everybody else was there from the very beginning.
Okay.
Vincent came along shortly after in time to do our first demo, which was awesome. Had to fatten the horn section up, but we lost one member who passed away, Dana Madison, who was not a member at the time,
Right.
but from the beginning of the group to when he passed away, that was incredible. And we were able to later bring in Bobby Lovelace on drums because Melvin Gentry was such an incredible drummer and guitar player and vocalist.
Mm-hmm.
We needed him in the important parts where he could be really seen as a vocalist. And Bobby Lovelace was the last to join, and we decided to make him a member of the group because he was just so dedicated, so cool, so good, and it fit into the clique.
So back in the Kentucky State days, I was reading that you had 2 bands going on at the same time. One during the school year, Funkified, I think it is.
We had 3.
Oh, 3. Okay.
Interesting that you would remember that. Yes. Yeah, so
Yeah.
when I first came there was a college band called Funkified.
Yeah. Right.
And they invited me to be in the band, and we had an amazing time, during the school year, playing all the college sorority and fraternity events that we could get, in the Kentucky area. And then we go back to Cincinnati, and back in Cincinnati, we had about my sophomore junior year, we formed our group Sunchild, which was Vincent and myself, my brother Greg, and then 2 other guys, Johnny Jones and Pete Jordan, and then Daryl Calloway was one of our first bass players, a dear friend of ours. But so it was the summertime's Sunchild playing jazz in Cincinnati, and then the school year Funkified playing funk all over the high school places. But Funkified disband, and then we were left with Sunchild, and Sunchild had a great run. We opened for Sonny Stitt, did a whole week's gig backing him up. We played with so many of the great jazz guys coming through town, and here we are, these high school kids selling out a jazz club, Milt Howard's Viking Lounge. And Milt was so impressed. That's when he began to let us, work with all the other greats that would come through. Yusef Lateef, Johnny Hammond. It was just an education. But right when Sunchild was getting ready to make its big break, the other 2 guys decided they didn't want to go any further. And that left such a stale taste in their mouth. That's when I said, when I go back to school this year, I want to put together a group that's not going to break up, not going to be a seasonal, summer group, winter group. So Midnight Star was right on the tail end of Sunchild, and that was a time when I said I want to put together one of the greatest groups in the world of like-minded people who have good family, home life, clean cut, and willing to be excellent at their instruments and just being great people.
Yeah, and you guys, what an amazing group. I mean, you can go through the discography, Midnight Star and Calloway, and it's really impressive. And here you are talking still, and you still are heavily involved in the music business, making music yourself. Let me ask Vincent a question, because you're a couple of years younger than your brother. How did you get into the band that eventually became Midnight Star? Did you have to bug Reggie to get in?
Well, I didn't, but I think what made things happen, I back up a little. I started martial art. I was having some difficult times in school, for a lot of different reasons. But once I studied martial arts, my grades picked up and on and on and on. And I became a lot more confident about a lot of things. And so one summer, Reggie called me up and said, Vincent, why don't you come down to Vincent and Kentucky? We're trying to work on a demo to try to get a record deal. And I said, okay. Of course, I hadn't even finished school. Graduated, I think. So I talked to my mom, and, she gave me her blessing. So I went up the street from where we lived in North Avondale, and they had a little thrift store. So I bought a couple of little cheap suitcases. I threw my clothes and my little horn stand in there. And of course, I talked to my martial art instructor, another Leo, like a mom. He gave me his blessing. And I jumped up. My mom took me to the Greyhound bus station, and I took Greyhound bus station in Lexington, Kentucky, and I had the opportunity to see the Midnight Star, perform. They were doing a gig at that time. And I'm like, oh man, this is a real deal. The first time I seen this great musicians, at the stage. And, from there we wound up in Louisville, Kentucky, of course, my birthplace. And the group wound up quitting school. And so our dad and Uncle Booth had our grandparents' home that had passed. They let us use the house, 3810 Greenwood Avenue as the new band house. So whoever wasn't from Louisville, we stayed in the house, so that's how I got in. But I was playing trumpet, and, Reggie was playing trumpet. Reggie said he wanted to fill out the horn section. Bill Simmons, on saxophone. So I bought a trombone from, I think, one of the band members, I think Kenneth Gadd. Bought a trombone and taught myself slide trombone, and
They put me in the group.
Yeah. And on your way, shopping that demo. Now, what was the process on getting the music out and somebody wanting to sign you? Back then, it was like, I got to get signed, right? By a record company. That was the goal?
Yes, yeah, we sent it to a few people, not a whole lot, but we sent one to Motown.
Okay. And
Motown sent us back a telegram saying, you guys are doing good. Come back in about 2 years.
Did you believe them?
I did. It hurt like like a hot water.
Yeah,
But
right.
They were right. We had a lot more to learn, and especially with the songwriting, we had to really master that to the next level. And production was a word that you heard, but you didn't really know what it was.
Right.
Even though Quincy Jones was my idol, I still didn't know what the producer did. But so we spent that time still gigging, pushing harder, more rehearsal, more choreography, more endurance, more training. And 2 years later, we signed with Solar Records.
You're the star of the party people.
So Motown was right, but they were right. They were too right. Would you rather be right or be happy?
Yeah, right. So who was instrumental? Your mom instrumental getting the deal with Solar?
That was through our. So what happened then? So when Motown said come back, it was like, okay, we got to get a better sounding demo before we don't need to just keep putting it out there, get the same answer. But our mother actually moved to Louisville, Kentucky from Cincinnati, and began to institutionalize a lot of the systems that we were doing, like when we rehearse, who's cooking, what's going on, what gigs are happening, where's the equipment, we had a road crew. Here we are, college kids with a road crew. That's ridiculous, man. We were spoiled. Of course, I would have never made it without the road crew. They did everything.
Some heavy equipment.
Yeah. And so we were still gigging, but so mom helped us to book more gigs. We would book our own gigs, produce them, direct them. We didn't need a promoter. We'd hang up our own posters and signs. And then through that same demo, basically, not good enough for Motown, but was good enough for the booking agent.
Ah, okay. So
So
yeah.
mom got us with a booking agent with Triangle Talent in Kentucky. They did a lot of, weddings and parties and all that kind of stuff. So we just began to gig and gig and gig. And then one of my old Sunchild contacts going back, who had saw us before we broke up at the Viking Lounge, and she says, I think you guys got something going on here. So when you want to do a showcase in New York, let me know. Then I had to write it back and say the group broke up. Then months later, I wrote it back and said, I think I have the right group now. Can we still do that showcase?
Right.
So she set a showcase up for us in Palisades, New Jersey at the Soap Factory.
Oh, okay.
And we did that show. Was probably five people in the audience, and they were all record executives and music scouts.
Right.
And they leaked the word back to Solar Records, Dick Griffey, that there was this band he had to see and had to sign. Leaked it to Clive Davis, and Clive didn't move as fast as Dick Griffey. He moved very, very fast. He was like, where are you guys, what can I come and see? So we went back to Cincinnati from the show. We were going to live in New York, but we got robbed the first night. So it was like, we got to get out of here.
Wow.
Yeah, that was the thing, is we packed up everything that we owned. We took off to New York.
Yeah.
We had this truck and vans. Yeah.
Actually, our mom was riding in the van with us.
Oh, they just, I got carjacked in the early 80s outside the radio station before they called it carjacking.
Well, they broke into a storage that we were keeping our personal stuff in. They didn't get in the truck. They didn't get the costumes, and they didn't get the equipment. Otherwise, it would have been a different story.
Yeah, you hear horror stories like they're doing fundraising. They just on a gig and they had their gear robbed. So yeah.
So we said we can't stay here. This is the Big Apple's too big for us. We just some Midwest boys and girls. So we couldn't go back to Louisville because it was too small. It was too congested, too small, too not progressive enough in the music that we were making. And luckily, our mother said, come to Cincinnati, take over the house. We'll turn the garage into a rehearsal studio. You guys can rehearse in the basement. We got the bedrooms, and that's what we did. Like Vincent said, nine band members, 3 road crew, crashed.
She actually moved out and gave us the whole house as the band house, and got her apartment.
Is that dangerous?
No, we were the Goody Two Shoes band.
Oh, okay.
So we had no wild parties. Wow. People would be off the board with us.
Yeah, well, that's good. Yeah,
we take it somewhere else, but not in the house.
Right. Yeah, the house is off limits.
Yeah. So that led us to playing all the clubs in Cincinnati that we could play, and then Dick Griffey says, I want to hear you guys. Mm-hmm. So he flew to Cincinnati. We took over a nightclub in the middle of the daytime, just us and Dick Griffey, and did an hour set for him that he could really see what we were trying to do.
Thing about it, Dick actually said, who might get a note missing out of the horn section, and come to find out Bill Timmons had a collapsed lung, so he wasn't able to perform. But so it just kind of let us know how much he knew about music.
Kind of unheard of,
Yeah, we weren't going to tell him, like a football team. We couldn't tell him we had a man down.
That's right. Yeah. But he could pick out the notes, right?
Yeah. Exactly. So he says, I want to hear you guys again. And by this time, we were doing Air Force tours all over the country, playing every Air Force base. 4 to 5, 6 nights a week sometimes, and then we travel to the next base. So he came to see us in Las Vegas, which is right next to LA.
Right.
And at this time, Bill was back. Instead of an empty room, we're playing, through a whole Air Force base of airmen and airwomen, and we turned it out so much that before he could get back to LA, he called me on the highway and says, "How would you like to sign with my little record deal, with my little record company?"
Wow. Yeah.
And we were like, "For sure." He's like, that was a great call. That was a great call.
Yeah, you that family with Solar, so many great bands and musicians at the time. And, I forget who told me, it was somebody on Solar, maybe the guys from Dynasty. They were talking about going up the mountains to Dick Griffey, the studio, was something like that in the canyon.
Probably the canyon, yeah, but not really mountains. But then they were there a little bit before us.
Okay.
So they may have had some, we when it came time to do our, Dick said, okay, we're going to come to do the album, come out to LA and do the album.
Okay.
We rode to LA on Lakeside's bus. They took us to LA
Oh,
for
wow.
our first time.
Yeah.
So that was classic. We
Those
were on
are
a fantastic voyage.
voyage.
Yeah. Right. Right.
Yeah.
But the bands, I mean, Midnight Star, Lakeside, Climax, y'all, and Shalimar, all pushing each other. I'm sure, right?
Yeah, there was definitely positive
Yeah, we had a chance to work
camaraderie.
with. Yeah,
Mhm.
we had a chance to work with Climax.
Which is
Production.
why, yeah, oh, go ahead, Vincent. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, no, I'm just saying. We had a chance to produce. Some of our first production was working with Climax, the Whispers, Kerry Lucas, and then of course later the deal with LA and Babyface.
Yeah.
And
That
also
was
Dynasty, yeah,
Oh, Dynasty too.
yeah. So that was the thing. Everybody helped each other out, with
right.
songs, and yeah, it was really cool.
So with the deal, did you see the potential for Face and L.A. Reid to be what they have become today? Did you see them picking your brains on how to make music?
You can see him back in the corner, or Babyface might be in the closet.
Oh,
We could find quiet, where it was dark, and he could write, at our mother's house, at our band house. But
right.
yeah, we had the irony of it is that, as Vincent was saying, my brother Greg and I, we would throw talent shows and concerts at the high school. So one of our talent show contests, 3 of the members of the deal were in that, that high school talent show,
Oh,
and
okay.
and they actually won. So before they came to deal, and then that progressed on to, once Midnight Star was going strong, and we would be, we had a club in Indianapolis, Louisville, Lexington, that whole area. But in Indianapolis, there was a nice little music scene going on there. So we would go there and play at the Mark IV Lounge, and the members of the deal would be playing at another club down the road, and we go back and forth and see each other, and finding out that some of these guys like L.A. Reid's from Cincinnati, I didn't even know him from there, and then Babyface from Indianapolis knew Bill Simmons and Jeffrey Cooper from Indianapolis, so we had a camaraderie going on. But to answer your question, L.A. Reid was definitely always studying, always learning, and very open about it, as he says in his book, about how much he picked up and learned. And Babyface was writing songs, trying to get the formula to get it to where it should be. He was getting so close. And then watching the process of what we were going through, and once he grabbed onto it, and it was like boom, you can take any song and fix it, and make it better. So those guys were students of the game, no doubt.
Yeah, you were their mentors.
It's an honor.
Yeah. Hey, before I forget about Climax, Meeting in the Ladies' Room, you guys co-wrote that song. I don't know if Cheryl told the story in an interview, or somebody from the band said it was one of you guys, your girlfriends at the time or whatever, they were going to the ladies' room and you got perked up the brain on the writing on that. I don't know. Is that something with the story we're writing?
Legend. There's a legend about that song that'll probably go on forever and ever and ever. But I don't, because the true story may be too boring. But but then because I don't know which. Sometimes I don't know which came first, the argument or the song. But the song was conceived when I was in New York, and I was actually having lunch with Sylvia Rhone and some other executives, and we were on a sort of a promotional tour for Midnight Star, doing all the interviews and all that stuff. And when one lady goes to the restroom, they all tend to go. Right. She's like, would you like to go? Would you like to go? So 3 ladies go to the restroom, and we're just sitting at the table like, well, I wonder what they talk about in there. Why do all ladies always go? So I'm an imaginator, and imagine the person that just kind of created this storyline of what it would be. But then reality verifies it, and then you got it right when that happens. So we're at the Shalimar party where they're picking their new lead vocalist, because Jody's no longer there, and so it's a party up in Solar in the studio area and we're dancing and having a good time, and then my fiance is in town, and we're in her dancing, and then Bernadette comes up behind me, and she's just playing around acting silly, because that's what she does.
Yeah.
And she's having a good time, and my fiance's on the other side, so she can't see what's going on behind. Like, is she actually touched him? So she was ready to take care of that business.
Yeah.
Like,
Hard to
no,
throw down.
I'm not doing this. That's my brother. You know, we always play around. But yeah, nothing ever came to fisticuffs, but it could have.
Yeah.
And they would take that to the ladies' room. But
Right.
But what a story. I just love the way it morphs and changes. When I'm writing songs, I prefer to tell stories whenever I can. And that makes it memorable, and always you always want to hear it over and over again.
Now, working as brothers, written together, so many songs, produced songs together. How do you guys work together? What do you don't have to give away all your secrets, but some of them. How do you work together and you're still together, smiling?
Well, I think the biggest secret is that if we both don't agree on the same thing,
Right.
you know, if one is strong on one side, one strong on the other, you know, then we could have a little delay in what we need to do. But, you know, we wind up at some point agreeing on, you know, where we need to go with something, in part, whether technical things or business things. But that's probably the key thing. It's more on a human level, more so than just, you know, the creativity. But
don't like something, then that's easy. We just, that's not going there, or it's not.
Yeah, that's right.
But if one, you know, is like, I like it, I'm not sure. So if we're not sure, then the one who likes it the most, we may go that way because of the instincts, you know. But if we both unsure, we may just simmer on it, let it ride, you know, come back and check it out, or even bring in some outside opinions without being too focused by it.
Oh, okay.
To break the ice of a decision. It's like, should it go this way or should it go that way? You know, should the intro be here? Should the breakdown be there? And, you know, he always has a great suggestion of what his feelings are. And they're always 9 times out of 10 so accurate.
Do you, I'll ask you both the same question. Do you have any songs that you gave away and wrote for other artists that you wish you guys had kept it and put it out yourselves? Or is that an unfair question?
That's a cool question. I was going to let Vincent go first, but I'll while he's warming up.
Okay.
Dick Griffey saved us because we were getting ready to give Wet My Whistle. When he heard the song, he didn't like it. So he never let the Whispers hear it. So he was like, you know, Reggie, why are you giving us your B songs? I'm like, wait a minute. Because, you know, a lot of the other stuff, Rocksteady and all that stuff, that all came from that whole sound, which, but anyway, so he saved us on that one.
Yeah, good decision.
Certain songs, you can say, I wish we could have kept it after it's finished, but when you're writing it, you don't really know the level of it. So, like Casanova, but they did such an incredible job.
Oh yeah, great video too.
Yeah. So it was like, and then that was another. That's our second biggest song, Casanova. After I Want to Be Rich.
Wow.
And it's really bigger because it was #1 R&B and #5 pop. You know, so yeah, that's one's like. But right now, where Vincent and I are standing, it's fun rediscovering those songs. So we will record Casanova.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
And fortunate enough that we still have the wherewithal to do that. But
new instrumentation, or
well, I think we probably do like what we did with I Want to Be Rich. We'll do one that's close to the original.
Okay.
And then we'll bring in some young kids to totally flip it.
Right. How about you? Oh, go ahead. I cut you off.
I'll just have to be curious myself. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to ask Vincent, any songs that you wish you guys had recorded, put out?
I kind of agree with Reggie. You know, even though they did like Love Overboard, but when you hear somebody like Gladys Knight sing one of your songs, it's like things you couldn't even conceive of the way to perform it. You know, even with Gerald Levert, you know, did such an amazing job with Levert. But now we have artists, like Ray Parker Jr. Every time he hears Casanova,
because he's out your way. He does a lot of studio work too, right?
He's got a couple nice studios at his house.
Wow.
Oh, but I did want to make one point, about the other thing about Reggie and I's, working system. But with my older brother, he's always been the leader of the group. So I always gave him, that respect. So that's making some decisions on came down to it. But I know he knows that it was something I felt crazy about. And I think in general with music, especially when you make changes with different things, sometimes you have to kind of back up, down that page, check it out, see where it's going. And but this kind of goes back to some of the work, working relationship.
So you complement each other and know each other's strong suits, but you're pushing for the same goal.
Pushing for the same goal.
Yeah.
I like the way both of you guys said that.
Yeah. So let's talk about Midnight Star, which, like you said, one of the best bands ever put together. You guys started to get those hits right at the time the video revolution was happening. We all remember the fantastic videos. And what was it like being so young and things taking off, like, to the top of the charts?
Well, I don't know how young we felt at that time. But man, we did 3 albums before we got a hit, before we got a national hit, and it wasn't because it wasn't good stuff. It still needed that same work that Motown was talking about, that 2-year thing in the studio too. It's like different phases. You got your preparation year, you got your studio years, then you got your actual concert performing years, and then your headline, when you reach that level, which is a whole nother deal. But it was amazing. I mean, it was good that we had to work extra hard. So we weren't that first out of the box hit wonder that, that can happen to a group that might be their last hit, period. So by the time we got it, we had much respect, and then we know what we had to do to get there. That No Parking on the Dance Floor album was no joke. Every song had to be a hit. Yep. Every song had to be tested. Every song had to be, listened to by the audience from a certain standpoint. But once we got Freakazoid, and once we tested Freakazoid, and once people crashed the dance floor off the rough mixes, going against Atomic Dog and different songs of the era like that, we said, "Oh man, we got something." And then once it turned into a release, and we sold 100,000 records just in New York. So
Did you stop by BLS, Frankie Crocker?
Oh yeah, Frankie was. I idolized Frankie. He was.
Me too.
Cool.
Yeah,
he was the coolest guy in the world.
Yeah, I sent him I never got the chance to speak to him in person. I was at the Time concert in Tramps in New York, and he was right in front, but he was going out the door. But I emailed him before he got sick, and he was respectful and nice. So. Wow. Tell us about going to BLS and inner city broadcasting.
Well, I probably saw Frankie more at the parties than I did necessarily at the station. But we went to all the stations and did all the press tours, and it was most times myself and Belinda. So Vincent missed a lot of those things, but as different phases of our career. By the time we hit Calloway, then it was just the two of us, so we really had a ball with Downtown Julie Brown.
Oh yeah.
MTV, Pat Sajak and Arsenio Hall, and all those great fun shows.
Yeah, a couple highlights. Soul Train, of course. You can see when the dancers are amped up going down the line to Midnight Star, and also
it was also Don Cornelius was the coolest.
Yeah, that's right. He had some fun with you guys. You guys, how many appearances did you do? Just 1 or 2?
Well, it's been Midnight Star and Calloway. We did about 3 or 4.
Okay.
But Midnight Star was 2, and Calloway was. Well, that's why you do 2 songs every show.
Right.
So we only did it one time as Calloway. Then we did "You're My Everything" and "I Want to Be Rich," and 2 times as Midnight Star. Yeah.
Right. And another one, American Bandstand, Dick Clark giving you that gold record. That was real special.
That's classic. We got to replay that again.
Yeah. What was that like? Was it a surprise or?
It was a surprise. That was a surprise. We must have been to Jackson 5 because that was the vision that we kind of had. It was like
Yeah,
a fantasy. Like we're actually on American Bandstand.
right.
Did somebody say that?
You guys both have any of the costumes from the Midnight Star days?
Oh man, I wish. I think what happened too. There was a big fire at one of the studios where we stored
Oh, okay.
a lot of our equipment as well as old gear. And I'm usually pretty good at keeping up with stuff like that too. But
Yeah.
man,
But what I did have was Midnight Star, my two tour jackets and a Freakazoid T-shirt, and those are all in the African American Music Museum in Nashville.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the legacy continues. They'll be
Yes.
there forever, hopefully.
Yes.
Now, yeah, I wanted to ask you about the tours with Midnight Star. What were you ever? Were you on the Solar tour?
Yes.
not the first one though.
Okay, because Dynasty was telling me about they took a bus across the country and
Yeah, we toured later with Climax and Shalimar.
oh, okay, that must have
Yeah,
been a
that was
great tour. Yeah,
different version of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was a lot of fun. In fact, we were on tour together when the first time we heard Meeting in the Ladies Room on the radio.
oh,
And
yeah,
we were on the tour bus and that thing was blasting. We were like, holy crap.
yeah. I've actually, when I did the radio show in Connecticut up until the pandemic started, we had Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. The members of the Talking Heads were in the studio, and as the Tom Tom Club, Chris France and Tina Weymouth were playing their music. They came in for an interview. They're like, okay, we got to go. We want to hear the song in the car. They rushed out of the studio to go home. They're like you guys, right there, successful musicians. They were as pumped as ever.
Yeah. It's crazy. But that was a great tour.
Did you do Budweiser Superfest too?
Yes.
Yeah.
Which one?
I don't know what year, but we did the Astrodome
Oh, wow.
in New Orleans, and that was the most incredible concert.
Superdome in New Orleans.
That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah, Superdome. Yeah.
And Astrodome in Houston, I think.
Right. Do you remember who was on that tour? Other bands and singers?
Rick James and Mary Jane Girls.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I think I saw it. Oh, go ahead, Vincent.
Oh no, I was going to say, and we did a show with Rick James and Mary Jane Girls in Madison Square Garden. That was a pretty classic. That was probably one of our earlier gigs, concerts.
Yeah, I saw Rick James and Cameo. I've seen Rick James a bunch of times, but yeah, you talk about a Midnight Star and the Stone City Band and Rick James, that, that's a different kind of behavior, but great music nonetheless from both bands.
Thank you.
Yeah. Now, when Midnight Star, is still going on strong, but you guys decided to make your own path and Calloway. How long did it take you before you left Midnight Star to do Calloway?
So we left Midnight Star in '86.
Okay.
And then we began to do the producers stream, and after 4 number 1 records in a row, Dick Griffey said, how about you guys come and do a Calloway album? Because he felt like he was losing us.
Yeah.
And we're like, we've been waiting for this opportunity for a long time. Let's go.
Right.
That was an easy move. So it was about three and a half year period in there.
How disappointed were the fans when they knew you guys were on to another group, your own group?
I think there was a lot of disappointment. Yeah, a lot of people, there's a few, even today, look for a reunion, of which we're happy to do at any time.
Mm-hmm.
So, but the fans were really, because they fall in love with the whole thing,
Right.
They love this band member for that reason, this band member for that reason, and it's like a TV show where you don't want to lose any of your characters. Yeah. But we're just proud of the rest of the group for sticking with it, because they had a period where they had stopped actually performing, and then just to see them come back and keep perpetuating all this great music and keeping all these songs alive, which Vincent and I love to do as well. So it's great times.
Yeah, and you guys, speaking of your own project, I believe you've got a concert date January 23rd, Vibrato Jazz Grill, right? Is
Yes,
that
Yes,
still on?
yes,
Yeah.
mhm.
yes. Reggie's birthday too.
Oh, well, early happy birthday.
Thank you, thank you. Yeah, people
Yeah.
always want to know. We're going to perform. All the hits. From starting from our Midnight Star hits to the production things that we did. We'll even do Meet in the Ladies' Room and
Mhm.
Love Overboard and Jumpstart My Heart. Body Talk, Body Deal. We'll do all of our Calloway songs. So it'll
Wow.
be just 20, 20 hits that people have made hits for us. Back to back to back. And we do different interpretations and arrangements of them as well. So it's quite exciting to hear all your music in one place like that.
Maybe some special guests.
Definitely some special guests for the birthday.
Okay. Yeah, I figured that. Yeah. Now for our viewers and listeners, where's the best place people can get the new music? I Want to Be Rich. I know you guys are talking about Six Pack, another track. It's going to be released too. Where can our viewers go?
Yes, it's on all your digital outlets, Apple and Amazon, and wherever you buy your music or whether you stream your music, as well as Sirius XM and just Spotify and anywhere that you would get it at. We're there. We have a few full distribution. It's our new label that we're taking to the next level, Spiral Galaxy Entertainment, along with symphonic distribution. So the video will be available the 23rd of this month. So for streaming, for buying, whatever you'd like to do with it, we had it. When you do a version of your old song, you do it new. You think
Right.
you could forget about the video, but we're like, no, we want them to see us how we are now, and just and show some fun. So the video is really really fun and light, and matches the new production. And we're happy to have Phonics, Darius Barnes.
Right.
Phonics is bringing some youth to it. We're happy to produce it with them, and it's just these are exciting times. We're going to go through the whole roster and just recreate all these songs for people, so that not only will they be around forever, but new versions of them as well. With some of them with young artists doing the very same song. We had Casanova was performed by TAB out of Australia, New Zealand rather. They did a incredible job that we liked. I thought we were like on a picnic when the song came on. It was just so much fun and energy. It was a festival, like a festival
Right.
song, like a bunch of people at the festival just bringing it down with Casanova.
Wow. So a couple things I wanted to before we get going. Producers, you guys are incredible songwriters and producers yourself, but you have friends and mentors yourself. I wanted to bring up a couple of producers. Quincy Jones, you had mentioned before, being your guy, and his recent loss, I'm sure, affected both of you. So what did he give you any wisdom on what you should add to your repertoire?
Yes, Quincy was the reason for No Parking on the Dance Floor was Quincy Jones.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, he was we went to see him backstage at his concert in Indianapolis, Indiana. Leon Burnett, our road crew, was pretty much a dear friend of him, and actually got us backstage. So we got to meet him backstage, and then he put me off to the side for like a 30-minute one-on-one with Quincy Jones, and he told me about three strong things. The most powerful one is that there's no democracy in music. That means if you got a 10-piece band, a 9-piece band, you can't go around and saying, what's your vote on whether the bridge should go here or whether this chord change should go there. There has to be one cohesive action. So that gave me the strength to say, okay, this album, I will produce it. And with the backing of the band and with the backing of management and the backing of Dick Griffey, there won't be production by a committee or assembly. And, people were able to come in the studio when it's time to go to work. And when they weren't working, they could be chilling in the lounge or whatever, or working on new songs. Our mother, Gloria Larson, put together a system that gave us a really regimented time. Well, this is when dinner is. This is when you come to the studio. This is what we're working on today. Wow. And then I'm in the studio executing those things. But that's one thing. The other thing is, if there's a part in the song that you want to add, and you put it in and it doesn't add anything, take it out. You're just cluttering up the music.
Right.
And then the other one is if the hair bumps on your arm rise up,
Yeah.
then you got something. Don't mess it up.
That's the sign when I go see live music or hear it too. That's the sign when you're feeling here or your arms.
Yeah, don't go adding
Don't work.
parts and don't try to make it betterer.
Right.
You know. So
Now a couple other producers. I'm sure you guys are friends with Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis of Flight Time, Minneapolis fame. Moved out your way. Do you hang out with them, or have you guys? I've seen pictures of you guys.
yeah, they're go ahead and say something, Vincent.
Oh no, I just remember taking a picture with them from back in the day. But they've always been like Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, L.A. and Babyface. Those are just
And
like
Vincent and Reggie Calloway. Come on, you guys are right
Calloway.
there. Yeah.
Exactly, and I think it was just like a whole nother new era of producers. Like Reggie was saying, I remember make it short, but when we first signed with Midnight Star, I mean with Solar Records, they wanted to ask questions. So what do you want to do? What are your goals? And I say, oh yeah, I want to be a producer, and I want to do this and that, and didn't know what a producer was, but
Right.
you look at Quincy Jones, he had a whole thing that he did as a producer. Now you got the songwriter, the producer, the songwriter, the artist, and on and on and on. And it's just a different time.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing of how we all borrow from each other. Within the early Prince days in the Minneapolis sound, we were picking up things from them, and then once we came along and they started doing the Janet Jackson sound, they were picking up things from us.
Right.
I take also from Quincy Jones wrote in a Billboard article. He says his 3 favorite producers were the Calloway Brothers, L.A. Face, and Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis. So I'll let Quincy tell that story. he told it straight out like that. But
Yeah.
one of the great things I liked about Jam and Lewis was every time we get a hit record, they send us a telegram.
Oh, really?
Congratulate us. Yeah, I wish I had some of those. Or we reach out for them and call them. This was before the internet.
Yeah, I think I heard Jimmy Jam in an interview recently because his dad's got a record out, and he was saying something similar. If he finds somebody did something great, he tries to reach out and send them, congratulations. I really dug what you done. So he's still doing it these days.
Classy. Yeah, because we never had any kind of rivals. We were just all just trying to put it down, make it better, and beautiful thing. But keep going. That's fun. What else you got?
Yeah. Yeah. You're talking about the legacy. So many hits, so many great records. And I was watching Sunday Night Football. I don't know if you guys knew, I think it was 2 weeks ago. They went to commercial. They were playing No Parking on the Dance Floor.
So somebody told me it was electricity. Was it, do you remember for a fact there was no parking?
I thought it was instrumental of it, No Parking. I could be wrong, I just turned 60, so I'm,
Oh, that's all right. Yeah, one of my friends was he said they just played electricity going to the commercial away, and then the week before that, Gramblin's band was playing Casanova coming off the field. I was like, yeah, we're in a fun time.
Yeah. I mean, hey, when your music's still, reinvented by other people and it played at major events, you did something right.
Thank you. We had good teams.
Yeah,
good effort and lots of hard work.
Now, who are your football teams? Who you guys root for?
We're from Cincinnati, so we have to stick with the Cincinnati Bengals. Of course, I don't know about Vincent, but you're waiting for them to do something great. But I'm more with the players, so
yeah,
I'll go anywhere with Mahomes throwing the ball. He could be playing for any team, but he happens to be 12, 13-1 where he is.
Yeah,
with a couple of Super Bowls to his pocket. But yeah, I love the Chiefs as well.
Yeah, how about you, Vincent? You follow the NFL a lot?
I don't, but I've kind of got hooked on watching, of course, the Bengals and the Chiefs.
Right.
Just the high level, athletic performance and mindset. It's like another generation of quarterbacks now.
Right.
Things that they're doing. Mm-hmm.
Now you guys still stay in great shape, right? I see you guys still working out.
Yes. Yeah. I teach martial arts, so I have some private students that I train. I teach some internal arts, Tai Chi and Bagua. training pro boxers, from time to time. So
Wow.
it keeps me busy. And then, of course, we have our own, workouts that we do as well.
How about you, Reggie?
Yes, I'm trying to keep up with my brother, plus battling some, trying to get to the next 10 years step by step. So it's a lot of walking every day, and I just, really started getting into yoga. My trumpet teacher in college was a yogi, and he was always trying to get me into it. And I was just, I'm doing martial arts, and I wish I had have really respected that then, because it is the truth teller. Mm-hmm. So we're doing that, and and then getting back on stage. Been off stage for a while, so being on stage is a great motivator. But biggest thing is that this song Six Pack, whereas the I Want to Be Rich can be dealing with your financial help. Six Pack will be dealing with your physical, mental, spiritual, social, financial, emotional, a full health system guided around health. But it's not just your body being in shape; it's a whole coordination with the food that you eat and everything. So that's going to be our next movement, and we launched that in the spring. Then it's going to be a campaign to bring together all the trainers and let them show what their top exercises are, and to combine that with nutrition and vitamins, and just really, because our people in terms of this age group, we're in our 70s and 60s, and it's never too late to do a little better. If you feel better, you'll do better.
Yeah, always positive stuff. That's something to look forward to as well. I'm sure our viewers too. I look at the demographics of our show through YouTube. It's like 45 to 65, a few, into the 70s. So yeah, that's where we're at in life, right?
If you're 45, you got a great chance to turn it around.
Yeah.
If you're 60, you still can maintain and improve your mobility.
Right.
That's what happens is people get sedentary, and they're in the chair, they're watching TV, they're in the bed, and they think they're resting while they're rusting.
Wow, that's well said. Yeah.
I've got to write that down.
Yeah. There you go. It's captured now for your catchphrase.
We've been training, every, this Midnight Star, that part of our routine, the whole group, of course, we live together. So we get up at 7:00 in the morning, we'll go out, we'll run 3 miles in the neighborhood, come back to outside, stretch, have breakfast, and we start in our day, on section rehearsal, rhythm section rehearsal, full band rehearsal, songwriting. And that was, that was the whole routine. And just to try to maintain that, because, a lot of groups, they say, oh man, you're a musician, I know you guys are partying and you're doing this and that. But, a lot of our lifestyle was based off of, trying to stay. As a matter of fact, I think a lot of our success getting signed with our high energy performance, like we had, really great demo during that time. But we're a high energy group.
Well, that's why you're still here with clear minds and making great music. So I got to thank you guys for coming by, Vincent and Reggie. I got into radio in 82 and I was in the record pools, and inevitably in those 80s, it was just Midnight Star Records. We always look forward to that and putting on the air and still have throughout the year. So it's great to meet you finally. And we're going to play that new music. I Want to Be Rich, Darius Phonics Barnes, and also Six Pack. And I'm sure you got a lot of other songs in the can, right? Since
we just want to be around long enough to get to them. I tell you.
That's right. Yeah. Okay. Can you give the viewers, listeners, the best place, the official website, keep up on things?
Yeah, we're at CallowayOfficial.com.
Yeah.
You can hear all the music there, pick up some of your favorite stuff, get some stories. But we're also on all social media, Instagram, Facebook, Calloway Official. So please stop by. Let us know who you are. Right. Oh, there's going to be a contest for I Want to Be Rich. Whoever does their greatest expression whether
Okay.
it's funny, whether it's dancing, whether it's an old video, whether it's an old family picture. Just tell them about what it means to you. The winner will get some nice prizes, including a one-on-one Zoom call with the Calloway Brothers, so we can do
Wow.
face-to-face
Yep.
and some other prizes. But yeah, get ready for that. Just just for the fun. But it's also for expressing yourself. We already got some nice clips from our past, so we're looking for the fresh ones.
Okay. Yeah. So great promotion. You guys are always working it, and hope you make it to the East Coast. Can meet up. We're in upstate New York. We used to live in Connecticut, but when you guys are out here, yeah.
Okay, Joe.
We definitely have to hook up.
Yeah.
Great questions today.
Thanks, Reg and Vincent.
thank
Love
you.
having
Thank
you
you,
on
Joe.
it.
Thank you
You
much.
made my day. Yeah. All right.
On your mind.